Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm a junior studying biochemistry, and I'm interested in the Humanitarian Engineering program. So, my first exposure to low resource medicine and global health really began in my sophomore year when I joined the Grinstaff lab, and I worked on developing nanoparticles to deliver medication to treat PTSD in areas that had little to no medical infrastructure. So, think of active war zones and refugee camps. And over the past couple of years, I've really explored how science can be used as a tool to help those in dire need. I've been exposed to a whole myriad of perspectives on the refugee crisis, and I've had experiences that, while they've challenged my previous worldviews, they've really helped cement this desire to pursue refugee health. And this has driven me not only to my senior research, where I will work with Dr. Zaman on studying the evolution of multi-drug resistant bacteria in Lebanese refugee camps, but also in the future as a physician in international medicine or a public health officer. But in this journey, there have been a lot of challenges that I've had to overcome and grapple with. And one of them that I believe the humanitarian engineering program will really help me grasp is the problem of knowing what issues refugees really face and how to best approach them. So there are a lot of gaps in literature. There are so many untold stories and silent epidemics in the refugee crisis that really compromise our work in making a positive change in these communities. And at least for myself, I'm the type of person who's not satisfied with superficial answers or incomplete analyses or not really knowing how to best approach something. So I feel that the curriculum in the humanitarian engineering program will really allow me and my peers to truly grasp the challenges that are being faced by refugees and how to best approach them in a way that's sustainable and tangible. So with the humanitarian engineering program, you have the interacting dynamic of field work and collaboration. And I feel that being able to look at an issue from multiple perspectives and work on it in country will not only allow us to have an immediate impact in Uganda, but we could use the knowledge and experience that we've gained from this work and use it to answer this question of knowing, of being able to understand the greater issues that face refugees across the world, and to be able to have the greatest impact possible. So an interesting application of this actually was in my global health seminar in Kilachon, HC 302. And at the end of the course, we had a project, which was actually a global health hackathon. And my group was given a location, Caesar 1, which is a refugee camp in Lebanon. We were given an issue, sexual and gender-based violence, and what the project basically was we were given a place, we were given an issue, and how do you solve it? What do you do? So we're brainstorming initially, and we are experienced. So we think that this has a simple solution. We'll just use therapy sessions to treat the symptoms of sexual and gender-based violence. But as we look deeper into the literature and we read direct accounts from refugees in similar situations, we found that the issue actually was more along the lines of poverty and social isolation. So women were entering transactional and abusive relationships in order to provide basic services to their families. And because they didn't have social networks in their community, it really perpetuated a cycle of abuse and codependency that just continued indefinitely. So what we were saying there, we had to flip our approach completely. And so we're brainstorming and we're trying to see, how do we approach this? And in our group, we had a computer science major and a marketing major. And so we ended up having is a cool fusion of ideas where we developed an app. And the app would serve two purposes. It would provide a platform for women to sell artisan-made goods, or women and men to sell artisan-made goods, such as artwork, baskets, pottery, that could be sold to international buyers and can provide them a source of income. And the app would also serve as a social network platform. So people using the app would be able to connect with others, not only in their community, but elsewhere as well. So we theorize that when women were able to have these social connections and have an income that's outside of transactional relationships, that we can have an actual impact on sexual and gender-based violence in this community. And so an exercise in how approaching the refugee crisis is sometimes unintuitive. That sometimes you'll find that a solution to a problem is something that you never would have thought of, that you only found out by having those direct accounts from refugees themselves. And it was definitely a challenging experience, but I would say that the most transformative that I've had really has been my work as a volunteer hospice caretaker. So I've been in hospice for a few years. I joined after my own mom went through hospice. And while I've been in hospice, it's been an absolutely amazing experience. I've met some of the most wonderful and caring people that I've had the pleasure of knowing. But it's also been really taxing. There are a lot of instances that will really challenge your ability to go on. You'll have patients confide in you that they're just suffering immensely. You'll have families that can't grapple with the grief they're facing as they see their loved one pass away. I've had patients who have died in my presence, who have died while I've been visiting. And I feel that in some ways, such as this, the hospice setting and the refugee crisis are pretty analogous. It's really easy to fall into a trap of pessimism and denial, to say, oh, this is too big. There's no way I could possibly do anything, and to just turn off and just say no. But I feel that because I've been through hospice for so long, that this has actually motivated me to do the opposite. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, there are very few easy solutions, but it matters. Even if you take small incremental victories, successes towards progress, even if you have a small impact on someone's life, you just make their day better, it still matters in the end. And I hope that with the Humanitarian Engineering program, that I'll be able to continue having that impact and to be able to make a difference in people's lives. Thank you.